Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to attend this webinar. We'll give it just a few more seconds here in case there's any delays with audio or visual. All right, John, do you think we're good to go?
Yes, feel free to start.
Okay. Wonderful. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to attend this webinar. We are really excited that you are considering our programs. Again, just to focus on some of the things that we'll cover today. We're really excited to introduce 3 new concentrations to our EDD and PhD programs, in addition to the exercise science concentration that we already have. Today, you'll also learn about our unique dissertation process that really sets us apart from other programs. The main point being that we integrate all of our dissertation milestones into the coursework that you're already doing. As you probably know by now, in considering our program, we're extremely transfer friendly. We're happy and excited about accepting transfer credits, not just for other doctoral programs that you may have been in, but also other relevant master's degrees as well. We'll also highlight our program format. So you'll learn a little bit about a day in the life of a doctoral student in our program. And then also just wanted to highlight some of the expertise of our faculty, as I know that credibility piece is important for you as well. Just to tell you a little bit about myself as a presenter. I serve as the program director for our doctorate in kinesiology program here at CSP Global. We have a huge team of dedicated faculty and staff that are also ready and willing to serve you. And again, I'm grateful that you are considering our program. We'd like this to be as interactive and meaningful as possible to you as well. So feel free to ask any questions along the way. You can just shout some things out if you want, or you can use the chat box to send some messages, and then we can talk about that at any point. So again, we want this to be meaningful for you. You're not bothering me if you interrupt at any point. One thing I'd like to learn from any of you that are willing to say something either through the chat box or out loud, but I'd like to know your why. Would anybody care to comment on why you're seeking a doctoral degree? We can use some of that information just to maybe make sure that I can tailor the conversation to addressing some of those areas as well. But if you're willing to share anything about your why or your purpose, I'd love to hear from any of you.
So I think one of the reasons why I'm interested in a doctorate is because it's always been a personal goal of mine. And I'm facing a career change due to some disability. I have a master's degree in physiology, and I don't know, it just interests me to keep going and get my doctorate, and I don't know, maybe teach and do some research and things like that.
Yeah, wonderful, Dan. Thanks so much for sharing that. Absolutely, the attainment of a doctoral degree, whether it's EDD or PhD, represents the highest form of academic achievement in kinesiology. And by earning our degree, you would leave just being known to have a level of integrity and credibility and knowledge. So thank you for that. Anybody else have any other reasons they'd like to share? If not, that's okay. I won't wait the full 17 seconds like you're taught to do in education courses before moving on. But feel free to, we can have some side conversations as we move along at any point as well. But again, just to introduce what we're really excited about with our new concentration areas. In addition to our kinesiology degree with an emphasis in exercise science, we're happy to announce that this summer we're also launching emphasis areas in exercise and sport nutrition, exercise physiology, and then also strength and conditioning. And all of these are available both at the PhD and EDD level. So another purpose of the conversation today is also to describe not just the concentrations, but some of the unique nuances between the PhD and EDD programs as well. Just to comment briefly on Concordia University St. Paul, we're a thriving institution with really record enrollment almost every year, the last 10 or 15 years, at a time when enrollment is really shrinking and a lot of universities are struggling. It's a really positive environment at CSP Global and on our physical campus as well. Each time we go through the accreditation process, the accreditors with HLC are particularly impressed with the high caliber of our and qualifications of our faculty, how long that we've been here. There's a lot of continuity at CSP Global, and then also just how well we do online learning. We're really good at online education. We've been doing this for a long time. Before it was even called online education in the 90s, we've had some programs with distance learners, and we've had a lot of top-ranked programs in our online bachelor's in kinesiology, our online master's degree in kinesiology, and now we expect the same in our relatively new doctorate program as well, which is already receiving a lot of attention. Again, we hope this trend will continue, and by earning our degree, you're going to be recognized as having the highest level of integrity, credibility, and knowledge in your field. Our program format, again, we'll get into the day in the life in a moment, but you do not need to quit your day job in order to make time for our program. In fact, we're designed for the busy professional. If you're working in the kinesiology related field, we'll actually work with your job rather than against it. We offer classes every fall, spring, and summer year round. And in each course, it's rare to have more than 12 to 15 students in a course. And so you get a lot of individual attention and a lot of strong mentoring. We do not have a residency or an on-site intensive component in our program. And that's as a courtesy to the students like you that we have from all over the country. We know that that type of cost and disruption it can have in your life to require an on-campus component. And so we add a lot of applied clinical components just to the practical nature of the work that you're doing in class. And so although we don't have a face-to-face component, you will gain industry relevant knowledge and skills through coursework it's practical, it's engaging, and it's creative. It includes things like psychological skills training in a psychology course, patient profile analysis for exercise prescription courses, case studies, video movement and analysis for biomechanics. And again, I'll go into that a little bit more detail when we discuss the dissertation opportunities as well. Another point I'd like to highlight is that we are student-centric, not Eurocentric. I love Europe. My wife is from Europe. But traditional programs tend to follow a Eurocentric model where students jump through hoops simply because that's the way it's always been done. So the university might tell you what to learn or what to do, and then you do it. At CSP Global, we take a modern, fresh, and sensible approach to earning a degree with faculty that are looking to both challenge you and support you, but they're not looking to catch you do something wrong. So faculty and students are viewed as mutual partners in our program, and the learning experiences are, at least in part, based on what is relevant to you and your local situation, or the areas of expertise that you'd like to develop. So kinesiology is a very broad umbrella term for the study of human movement and physical activity, as you know, but within the field of kinesiology, there are a number of paths you can go and areas of expertise that you can pursue. And so we'll work with you to help you create the expertise that you're looking for. We don't take a one-size-fits-all approach to a doctoral degree, so you'll have a number of opportunities to explore topics that are of personal interest to you and professional interest to you as well. Again, traditional doctorates can often make students feel like they're using an I gotcha strategy when it comes to the dissertation proposal and defense. We hire faculty that have a spirit of support, that are interested in your physical, your mental, your intellectual, and your spiritual growth as well. We want you to gain expertise in things that matter to you. For some of you, this might mean improving in your current industry. For others, it might mean making strides for future work or a future career path that you'd like to enter. I mentioned our unique dissertation process earlier. You can maybe virtually raise your hand if you have any fear about completing a dissertation or that entire process. Sometimes we just hear the word research or dissertation, and it can be a little scary. Just the fact that you're considering a doctoral program, it's probably a little bit less scary to you, but it's a logical fear to have. Fear is a major obstacle for any graduate student, especially a typical doctoral student. but that's something that we want to help you work through. We want you to recognize really early in our program that you are not working on your dissertation alone or in isolation, but you're always paired with a strong core of faculty mentors that are going to provide feedback and work with you every step of the way. We also apply, especially in our EDD program, a Carnegie model for applied research that allows you to engage in relevant projects that are a little bit more non-traditional than your typical 5-chapter dissertation. And again, I'll go into some more detail on this later, but we have committee members for your dissertation from all walks of life throughout the country, not just professional teachers per se at CSP Global on our physical campus, but a number of organizations. And so just to highlight a few of those faculty, we have researchers and scholars that are working at Mayo Clinic Hospital, Duke Hospital, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and then also with the NFL and others that are employed with the NBA teams, such as the Chicago Bulls at the moment. So depending on the level of work that you're looking to engage in and your topic, you have a list of over 50 dissertation committee members that you can choose from. We don't force you to work with anybody. You get to choose based on what you know about them and their biographies that we'll share with you along the way. Another aspect that's unique with our dissertation process, again, it's worth noting that we integrate your dissertation milestones into the coursework that you're already doing. We have separate seminar courses that isolate each aspect of the dissertation process. I mentioned earlier, a major obstacle for doctoral students can be the fear of a dissertation. We attempt to take this weight off of your shoulders with the understanding that by simply doing your coursework, by definition, you are doing well on your dissertation. A lot of traditional programs consider coursework and then you work on the dissertation only at the end, or maybe as some type of side project. But by baking our dissertation process into the coursework you're already taking, you won't feel like you have this mystery course or uncertainty or a cloud hanging over you, wondering in the online environment, should I be doing something else? You do the work, but we're gonna help facilitate that in a way that is simply logical. And again, throughout this process, you're not alone. You've received feedback early and often on your dissertation. We want you to succeed and we want you to graduate. And so not only do you receive multiple rounds of feedback on every phase of the dissertation writing process from both one dissertation advisor and 2 dissertation committee members, you're also receiving guidance from separate seminar instructors as well. So you really can't get away from people that are trying to challenge you and support you. Also worth highlighting that we do not have a comprehensive exam component. We think that's a barrier, and it's a little bit, again, Eurocentric in nature to require elements like that. And so we want to get rid of barriers that don't really make sense and allow you to focus on learning in meaningful ways. A quick snapshot of a week in the life of one of our doctoral students. Typically, you're only taking one class at a time, and all of our courses are 8 weeks in nature. A typical student will be taking one course for 8 weeks the first half of a semester, and then another course the second half of the semester, for 2 courses per semester, but only one at a time. There are ways you can speak with your academic advisor to accelerate that path if you're a high-performing student. And you can also work with your academic advisor to slow down your timeline if you don't want to go all in, so heavy right from the start. A typical week, all of our courses throughout the entire program follow the same set of rules, so you don't have to relearn certain processes with each course that has different rules. So with every course you take, the learning week always begins on a Monday, and the learning week always ends on a Sunday. Any assignments that you ever have for any course are only due on Sundays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So every week for the entire duration of your doctoral program, you only have due dates on Sundays. Some of you will probably wait until Sunday to do most of the work on that. Others of you might be really good at working on things early. But those are the critical due dates. Any week, if there's something due, it's due on a Sunday. The only exception to that would be if there's discussion boards in a course. Those initial discussion board posts might be due on a Thursday in order to allow time for people to respond to those by Sunday. So I've highlighted that on the left part of this slide. On the right side, you can see just it's probably maybe a little too small to read, but a quick screenshot of some of the course content, or at least the weekly folder for one of our mechanisms of skilled neuromuscular behavior courses. And so you can also see a typical week, you're going to have a weekly overview, and then it'll actually end with a wrap up and a way to look ahead at the end. Within that content, you'll have some required readings, typically available online. You'll also have lecture videos and more traditional PowerPoint slides, depending on the way you like to learn. We typically provide a video lecture and then also lecture notes and slides. Again, just depending on your learning preference. A typical week also has maybe one discussion board and then one assignment due per week or every other week, depending on the nature of the course and that type of project. Just want to highlight a quick look at some of that. On the concept of taking transfer friendly to a new level, again, we do not accept transfer credit only from other doctoral programs. We're happy to accept transfer credit from any master's program that aligns well with our course outcomes. And so we already have a number of students in our program that have transferred anywhere from 12 to 24 credits, which is a significant way to increase I should say reduce your costs and also reduce your time to graduation. And so if you currently hold a master's degree in a kinesiology related field, it could be health and physical education, sport management, public health, exercise science, too many areas to list, you will automatically receive a 12 credit transfer block for that. If you've earned a non-terminal degree at the doctorate level, whether it's chiropractic, physical therapy, and so on, you'll actually be considered for up to 21 credits of transfer credit. It's slightly less for transitional doctorates, which require course-by-course review. If you're uncertain of this, we're going to do this for you. So as soon as you apply, we will scour your transcripts and give you every course possible, and then we'll let you know. And if you think you missed something, you can always have us take another look. But we're looking to give you everything that we can from that. And all students are entitled to a course-by-course review. But I just want to list some of those minimums here that exist as well. The Higher Learning Commission doesn't distinguish between master's credits and doctoral credits. Therefore, we don't want to do that either. And so, as you know, universities can often make it feel like you're getting nickeled and dimed at times. We don't want to do that. So our job is to graduate students. And if you join our program, we want to remove those barriers and not be in your way of graduation. A few other things that are perhaps worth highlighting with our kinesiology doctorate. We really do offer a unique blend of academic rigor, practical experience, and then personal attention that's going to help you achieve your goals and hopefully become a leader in the field of kinesiology. These are just a few areas I'd like to highlight as you consider different programs, and especially our program. One is just the strong curriculum that we have. We're designed to provide you with a strong foundation of both kinesiology theory and research, and provide opportunities for some practical experience in the field, regardless of your previous experiences. We also have expert faculty. Our faculty members they're experts in their respective fields, and we're committed to helping you succeed in your studies and more than just your studies. And again, we want to provide individualized attention and support for every student. And we want to work with you to identify not only your strengths, but also ways that you can improve that are going to help you develop a plan for achieving your goals, which are different for everybody. When you enter our program, you also are entering a supportive community. At CSP Global, you're part of a community of scholars and practitioners from around the world, and we're all passionate about kinesiology and making a difference. And so you'd have tons of networking opportunities and live synchronous components that aren't required, but you're welcome to attend with both faculty and other students really every month along the way. And then, of course, the career opportunities as well. When you graduate with a degree from CSP Global, you're well positioned to pursue a variety of careers. It might be in academia, it could be in research, it might be in industry as well. But our goal is that you're going to move on to successful and effective careers as either professors, researchers, or practitioners in a number of areas. It might be universities, it could be hospitals, clinics, or sport organizations as well. Yeah, not to kind of repeat too much of that there, but I realize that some of you are interested in advancing in your current career. Others of you might be more interested in changing careers completely. Our program is designed with both of you in mind. So if you're looking to advance in your current career in sport or exercise science, physiology, physical therapy, rehabilitation, strength and conditioning, or anything else in that world, we'll provide opportunities for you to gain additional expertise and credibility that you're seeking in those areas. If you're looking to change careers completely and work either as a university professor or a research lab director, or maybe a professional grant writer for a nonprofit, our degrees will help you achieve those as well. Again, our graduates, I've listed here just a variety of fields that are all fair game for the type of work that you can do with our degree. So you might be thinking, that's great, you have 4 different emphasis areas. Which one should I choose? The good news is you don't necessarily need to decide right away. There is some overlap between the areas, where if you're not quite sure that first semester, that's okay. It's not going to set you back any if you enter not quite sure on day 1. But here's just a few hints you can keep in mind. So our exercise science concentration is one of the more general areas. So if you just have a kind of a general interest in the health and well-being of others or communities, you might consider that exercise science concentration. It gets a little bit of everything: exercise physiology, biomechanics, nutrition, psychology. It really has it all. If you are interested perhaps more in the cardiovascular responses to exercise or other areas like that, we have the exercise physiology concentration for you. For those of you that are interested in, again, preparing leaders both in sport or other areas of performance and movement, or some of those neuromuscular mechanisms of performance, we are really excited about our strength and conditioning concentration, which also aligns with the industry standards and certification exams. Great option for you. And then the same can be said for those of you with an interest in nutrition, whether it's providing nutrition performance information for athletic teams or just individual exercisers. We also have that exercise and sport nutrition area. Now getting into the woods here a little bit more about the specific curriculum, I'd like to highlight some of the similarities and differences between our concentration areas, and then also between the EDD and PhD program. So on this slide, you can see those common elements of all of our degrees. So whether you're selecting EDD or PhD, you will take all of these courses. And whether you are taking exercise science, strength and conditioning, or any other concentration area, these are those core courses that remain the same. So everybody starts our program with a issues and trends course, just to get you current with the current field of research right from the start and help you get excited about potential areas that you want to keep studying. And then it's mostly, other than the ethics course, it's the seminar courses that help you draft the dissertation along the way. And those usually start around the 3rd or 4th semester. So you have a few semesters to take some courses and figure out what you're excited about, and then you can start drafting a potential dissertation topic there as well. Other areas of curriculum. So these are those courses that are common regardless of the concentration, but they differentiate a little bit between the PhD and EDD. And so you can see here, well, really the PhD program is 2 more courses larger than the EDD program, or 6 credits. And the difference in credits comes from the research methods and statistics aspect. Our EDD program, it focuses on action research. And so one of the byproducts of the EDD degree is that you are going to become an expert at designing and implementing practical research projects that address real world problems in your local situation. So it's a very applied type of research skill compared to the PhD program, where you are truly developing expertise in all areas of research methods. And so the PhD program requires the quantitative, the qualitative, the mixed methods, and a little bit heavier dose of statistics as well, which is not present in our EDD program. So the PhD, a little more generalized, peer-reviewed type of research that's taking place. The EDD is more concerned with not how generalized the results can be, but how much it can impact your professional practice or your local situation. Oh, wrong direction there. So other differences, kind of backing up a little bit, what is the difference between a PhD and an EDD? There is tremendous overlap between the course content of our programs. And both degrees represent terminal degrees. And so the EDD and the PhD, they both represent the highest level of academic achievement in kinesiology, but they prepare you for slightly different outcomes. So the PhD is designed to advance your knowledge and to become an expert in research methods. The EDD also advances your knowledge, but the focus is more on solving practical real-world problems once again. I'm happy to talk more about that. As we go into kind of dissect each of the emphasis areas, I'll move through these a little bit more quickly. Don't worry, I'm not going to read everything on here. But just to reiterate one more time, our 4 concentration areas. One is exercise science. It's our broadest area. So if you're not really sure which area to select, you might like to start here with exercise science because it really covers every area of kinesiology, from physiology to biomechanics to psychology to nutrition and so on. And then here you can see a list of those concentration courses. So we go really heavy into the concentration. We have a large 27 credit emphasis area to really provide that depth. And that's one difference between doctoral programs and, say, undergraduate programs, where what you might have read about in one chapter of an undergraduate textbook now becomes an entire course at the doctoral level. We also have the exercise physiology emphasis. So for you true exercise physiologists out there, if you have an interest in cardiovascular rehabilitation or different cardiac responses to exercise, this would be a logical choice for you. And you can see some of the new courses in this area that weren't in exercise science include exercise in the endocrine system, the clinical exercise assessment, the cardiovascular responses to exercise, and of course the XPhys is in there as well. The sport nutrition degree, one of the unique elements of this is it's probably our most distinct concentration area in a lot of ways, and then it actually has 5 courses that are unique only to this emphasis area. And then this is for those of you that are interested in helping exercisers or athletes or just high performers or low performers in general with their nutritional concerns. And this also aligns with a variety of different certified sport nutritionist degrees out there. It should note it's not a registered dietitian program, so you don't become an RD by doing this, but you gain expertise that will make it really easy for you to pass the variety of nutrition certifications that are out there, and can help just your practical knowledge in this world as well. And again, what is unique about this, you can see in this nutrition emphasis area, you have the dietary trends and special populations, nutrition and weight management, nutrition assessment and analysis. We have a course simply called vitamins and minerals. And then we also have nutrition for the general population as well. And then finally, last but not least, the strength and conditioning area. This program, it's really exciting. I can't wait to get this rolling here. This is for those of you that have a real focus on some of the science of training and development. And our curriculum in this intentionally aligns with the certification programs, which are, again, certifications in strength and conditioning. They're changing rapidly, the requirements and the national standards, what it takes to become a certified strength and conditioning coach. There's some significant changes on the horizon for that discipline. And we're really cutting the edge with our coursework to prepare you not only for what the certification requirements are now, but what they will be in the year 2027 and the year 2030 as well. And then you can see we have some new courses there with the scientific principles of strength and conditioning, and then also program design for special populations, which doesn't just include classic special populations like older adults or individuals with certain types of adapted or special needs, but also, including mental health in that area as well. And if you're still with us here, also wanted to provide a few of the resources we have available on our physical campus. And I wanted to highlight this just to let you know that we actually are a real brick and mortar campus as well. And you're welcome anytime on campus to take advantage of these resources. Certainly not a requirement, but if you want to come to campus for data collection or just for increased skill base, you're welcome anytime. The laboratories, they're well equipped. We have specialized spaces and equipment to support student research across a wide area of specializations. So we do have an exercise physiology laboratory with a bod pod on campus. We have an emotion analysis lab. We have biofeedback technology. We have a virtual reality lab as well. Again, we can help you with participants so that you can just show up if you want to spend 3 days collecting data. We can help make that happen for you. But certainly not a requirement. There's other ways you can conduct research without having any sophisticated equipment at all. And we will work with you in your situation in order to do that. And in other cases, we're doing this now, we can actually mail equipment out to you. I'm in the process of doing that with the current student who we're sending. It's actually like $3,000 worth of equipment, a variety of different wireless EMG compression shorts in order for that student to conduct his dissertation research. Just make sure you give it back to us. We have too many faculty to list. I believe John is going to send out a list of our full comprehensive list of the faculty that we have. Again, it's a real blend of full-time professors with industry professionals from areas such as Mayo Clinic, Duke Hospital, NFL teams, NBA teams, the CDC, just to name a few. Other faculty that are, working in laboratories as full-time researchers at some of those R1 institutions as well. You're not required to do R1 type of research at CSP Global unless you want to. That's a kind of an individual conversation with what's meaningful to you. But take a look at that full list of faculty if you'd like to learn more. We have another faculty member that actually created the training protocols for Orange Theory Fitness. If any of you have ever done any of those classes, you can thank Dr. Joel French for how tired you probably were at the end of that class. Okay, one other element, we hope that you are considering applying to our program. Just to highlight a few points, we don't have a GRE or MAT requirement. There's no fee for applying. Our main criteria is that you have to have a master's degree or higher. And as part of that application process, you will submit official transcripts. You will provide 2 letters of recommendation. Right now, it says professional goal statement, but we're actually removing that just as one more barrier for applicants. And then you include some type of writing sample. If you've been in school recently, you can submit a work assignment or a master's capstone or thesis. If it's been a while since you've done something like that and you can't locate it, you can submit a different type of writing sample for any type of manual or projects that you're working on professionally. So we're pretty open-ended with that. And then you would submit a resume as well. And we have a really quick application process. Usually hear back within a week or so, I believe, from the time that everything is submitted. So I encourage you to do that. And then of course, next steps here, and Robin's in on this chat as well. Here you can find Robin's phone number, and I believe she's also sending a chat link in the message box as well, in case anybody wants to get the process started or happens to have any questions. Speaking of questions, thank you for making it to this point. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to learn a little bit more about CSP Global and our doctorate programs in kinesiology. Hope you have a great rest of the day, and I hope I can welcome you to our program either this summer or in the fall. On that note, if you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you.
Hi, I do have one question regarding financial aid scholarships, those sorts of things. Like, what is available through CSP for this program?
Great question. And as the director of the program and a faculty member, I intentionally resort to my colleagues to answer that official numbers just so you get it correct. So I think Robin's going to take that one for me.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Great question. So financial aid is available to those who apply and qualify. I'm happy to send you a link, and then you can fill out their free application. CSP at this time is not offering any scholarships or grants. However, a couple of things I tell students, I do have a few links I can send you to look at scholarships and grants outside of the university. And then I would check with any associations. If you are certified in any particular area and you belong to an association, I've heard from many students, oftentimes those particular associations may or may not offer scholarships and grants. So I can definitely get those interested in something outside of CSP. I can help you start on a search for that.
Yeah, I think if you could send us the link to the outside organizations, that'd be great.
Absolutely, I'd be more than happy to. And I'll send that to your personal email, unless I can actually send it out to the entire group right here. Give me just a moment to get it pulled up.
And on that note, if you have any other questions, feel free to message them along, or you can shout it out. John is often the moderator of any messages that have been sent through. So I don't know if you're seeing anything, John.
I don't see anything in the chat. People on the call, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions you may have, or just put them in the chat.
And while you're thinking of those, again, just thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. It means a lot that you're considering our program, and you're welcome to reach out anytime. I didn't put my email address on here, but I should just mention it is buns@csp.edu, in case you'd like to email me directly as well with any questions.
There's a question from Nan. What opportunities are available for participating in faculty research?
Yeah, absolutely. And so when it comes to faculty research, one of the things that we don't do is kind of like force you to work with a certain faculty member on a certain type of research that you don't want to do. Admittedly, that was a little bit what my experience was like as a doctoral student. I mean, I actually liked it, fortunately, but a lot of traditional programs, you'll kind of do a topic that an advisor almost makes you do. In our program, we have countless faculty that are engaged in various types of research. And so you could start from scratch, and that faculty member could move with you together from the start of that. Otherwise, you can also jump in on, somewhat of a current line of research that other faculty members are doing. And that could be a part of your dissertation process, or it could just be ancillary research as well. So if you would like to engage in the research process before your dissertation work even begins, you can get in touch with any of our faculty, and you'll be provided a list of their name and their research areas. So you'll know exactly who to connect with. And absolutely, faculty are always happy to collaborate with other students for that type of work. And your dissertation process is highly collaborative. Research rarely occurs in isolation. There's not many, I don't know if I've read a quality study per se that was written by one author. Real quality research is always a collaborative effort. And so, we have faculty that would be thrilled to work with as many students as they can. And that can be a good way to get a leg up on and some extra mentoring as well in that area. Good question.
And she or he also asked, what research opportunities or partnerships are available outside of the doctoral programs?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know if I answered that question or not. So in terms of research available outside of the doctoral program, the only requirement would be you're doing certain research projects within some of your coursework, like little mini projects, and you are obviously doing your dissertation. Anything else would maybe be on an individual basis. You can connect with our faculty or connect with me. And again, you can do some ancillary research with any of our faculty members, whether it's in kinesiology or physical therapy for that matter.
And have any program graduates been able to attain professor positions at R1 institutions?
That's a really good question. So at the moment, we are, for those of you that aren't aware, we are a relatively new program. So at the moment, our students are now just in the phase of registering for their official dissertation credits this summer for the first time. And so our first cohort of students has successfully defended their dissertation proposals this spring. And so right now we're excited about the trajectory that they're on, but we technically don't have any graduates just yet. So any students that are entering our program right now, you are, kind of the pioneers, setting the tone for the program. We don't anticipate that being a problem. We actually have a number of students right now that are working at R1 institutions as lecturers, for example, and looking to obtain more tenure track types of positions. But yeah, if you are looking to move to the R1 institution, then our PhD program would absolutely be the right choice for you. And if you are more interested in leadership and teaching aspects, or maybe teaching at a smaller college, then the EDD will get the job done for you as well.
And I believe the program launched in the fall of 2020. And
yep, that's correct.
Marketing and enrolling for that program around that time. And we now have more than 100 students in the program. Okay, so there's another question generally about the process for transfer credit. What is the process like? How do we apply for transfer credit? And could Robin or Molly walk us through the process?
I'm happy to walk you through that. So what we'll need to evaluate your transcripts, of course, are your official transcripts. We will consider, as mentioned in the webinar, which can be found on the website, up to 12 credit hours from a regionally accredited master's degree program. If you're a current CSP or prior CSP alumni, we'll review 24. You can use up to 24 from your master's degree, which is quite a significant block. If you have a doctorate of chiropractic, a physical therapist will consider up to 21 of those credit hours. If you did a master's plus a doctorate, if you have a transfer master's doctorate, sort of a block, we'll look at a transfer block credit. So really the best way to get your transcripts evaluated for transcript credit, for transfer credit, excuse me, is to fill out the free application and send in your supporting documents, which I can support you through. Once application decision has been made and you're notified, Molly our student success advisor, will review with Dr. Buns. Dr. Buns will do a review of the credits as well as the registrar's office to give you an idea of which of those credits will transfer over into the any of the doctoral programs.
And just to add maybe one more point to that is it doesn't really require any additional work for students just by going through the application process. You don't have to make like a special request per se. We do that automatically just for every student that applies. We'll scour your transcript and give you everything that we can.
We definitely will, and that's a great point. Thank you, Dr. Buns. And also applying and utilizing the free application, does that mean that you're committed? It's important, I understand, financially, the time commitment to, get an idea ahead of time of, what you're looking at in terms of length and cost and so forth, and sending in a free application and having that evaluation is really worthwhile and to your benefit to give you an idea before you make a final decision.
And then Nan also asks, what role does faith play in the program, and how does the university's religious background impact student learning?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And so one of our mottos is that Christ is honored, but all are welcome. That's one of our promises at CSP. In terms of the actual coursework and how it impacts the student learning experience, it largely just manifests itself in the ethics course that we take. And so I think it's largely lives itself out just through the spirit of warmth and grace that our faculty members have. And so in our program, we're not a public school where you can't talk about matters of faith at all. We're also not a Bible college where students are required to sign a certain faith contract in order to be a student. We're kind of in that middle area, which is kind of where we like to be. It's that messy area that represents our world, where we have students of various faiths and backgrounds coming together, and then we have faculty that are committed to Christian faith and values. But it kind of plays itself out more in a matter of ethics and a spirit of warmth and grace with our interactions.
And I would add something as well. I've worked with 2 different Concordias in the Concordia system, and the Concordias were founded as teachers' colleges because they believed that they needed to bring higher education into the world. The Concordias date back to the 1860s, 1870s. So they've been around a very long time. And from being teachers' colleges, they've branched out into other areas, but still with the emphasis on that people need to be educated, people need to have access to higher education, and it needs to be done in a way that's affordable. So one thing I really respect about the Concordias is the emphasis on bringing education, higher education to the masses, and doing so at an affordable, reasonable rate. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Any more questions for us? Okay, well, if there's no other questions, I'll leave it to Dr. Buns to sign us off.
Oh yeah, thank you one more time just for the time and energy that you committed to attending this webinar. Appreciate your consideration, and all of us are here to connect with you if you have any questions about the application process or anything else moving forward. Enjoy the rest of your day, and have a happy Easter coming up soon.
And then there's actually one last question. Mikey asks, so will there be an email sent with faculty bios? And I know we have some bios in this presentation. Is it more of a list of all the names, or are there bios associated with the list, or what?
I do have and John, I can email that to you. I think I did this morning. Actually, I can double check. But we do have a list of all 50 faculty members and their emails, and then different bullet points with their expertise areas. Much larger list than was shared in the presentation slides today. And so,
Okay,
John, do you want me to email that to you, and then you could distribute it, or what would the best way be?
Yes. Yeah, that'd be great. And then we'll send it out to everybody.
Okay. And I should mention it's in our coursework and the seminars that you officially select the advisor and committee members. But for any student interested in starting that process early, like that request right there for seeking that information now, you're certainly welcome to establish relationships before the official process begins.
Okay, I think that's it. No other questions have come in. So.
All right, thanks again. Appreciate your time, everybody. I'm bad with goodbyes, so I'll leave it here. Take care.